Right, hello, I'm back. Okay, so I'm going to do an ink brushing video this time rather than using my gel plate, which I appear to be favouring a bit too much at the moment. So I'm going to use my dusters, I'm going to use some of these wee makeup brushes. I'm going to make a card and I'm using, it's a Marianne Designs die set. I really quite like these. I tend to favour silhouette stamping because I just love my distress inks. So yeah, so I've got the big tree in my Misty just now ready to go. I'm not sure whether I'm going to use the swing or whether I'm going to use the Lavinia bunnies. I've also pre-torn a strip of card just to make hills with. So it's a process. I have cut a moon out of post-it notes. I just put my circle that I cut earlier on and drew around it. Nothing fancy. I've got hundreds of post-it notes dotted about the house from my student days. So yeah, let me clear a little bit of this off. There's one of the smaller moon that I used for the last video. I'm probably not going to use my brushes at this point. My moon, I need to decide. I think I'm going to have it fairly central. Not bang in the middle, but I don't want it to be too far. I'm going to start with scattered straw and I'm then going to move into chipped sapphire. So it's a case of rubbing your ink brush into your ink pad. You will notice the odd bristle move, don't worry about that. Okay, so I'm just dusting off. It takes a while for the colour to build up. Don't be put off by that. It's a process. It should be fun. It's not about rushing to the destination. It's just getting there eventually. I am going to be taking my time with this one. Yeah, you'll be lucky if it's under 15 minutes, let's be honest. So this scattered straw again is one of my original ink pads. So I'm not going to go all the way down. I'm going to use some forest moss to get in there. So, okay, so that's scattered straw. Just make sure I've got the edges. So you can see the difference in that, hopefully. You should be able to see. So scattered straw away. Yes, that is my dressing gown sleeve. Yes, I am having a pyjama day. No, I'm not ashamed. So today is a lazy day. So I'm going to move on to fired brick. I want to create what looks like a kind of sunset. Again, I haven't really planned this, I'm just going with it. So I'm going to go and I'm going to move on now to some chipped sapphire. It's more about these colours blending together than getting individual colours. You can, if you want, splodge your ink pad on and pick it up that way. It doesn't really make a massive difference. And I'm just going to go round the three edges. It makes it quite dirty, but once it's done, it's quite a nice technique. I'm not worried about coming down here. I'm going to go a different colour. I'm wanting a dark sunset. I don't want a bright, beautiful sunset. I want kind of a bit of very late evening. Okay, so I'm going to move on to my forest moss. I'm going to change my brush and get rid of that very random brush hair that's stuck. Okay, so I'm going to start putting in some hills and mountains. So again, loading up my brush, and I'm dusting onto the white and down. Okay, and you should start to see this. As you go further down the page, it should, as you're layering the ink, make your hills darker. You might want to change over to a darker ink, but I find that once you've got it layered, you're putting on enough ink, it'll just darken itself down. As you can see, we're starting to get, I don't need this to look 100% perfect. This is just for fun. It's not meant to be realistic. It's a little bit of fantasy. And I'm going to tear another wee bit off of that. I don't want it quite as... So these are areas where I can have animals or children standing. There we go. And as you can see, I've got distinct hills off into the distance. And that is forest moss. I don't think I've got a much darker one to hand, so that'll do. Okay, so now I'm going to lift this and you're going to think, holy moly, that's bright white. However, I'm going to go back in with my scattered straw. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch the end of my brush so that it makes it kind of a bit flatter. And that, I'll brush it over first. Right, I'll brush it first. So that takes away its brightness. Because it is far too bright. I wasn't expecting it to be quite as... Okay, so now I'm going to flatten my brush. I'm going to drag it across and I'm going to make obvious clouds. The hazing that you would get. It doesn't have to be perfect. It is going to change once we start layering up with trees and foliage. Okay, so I'll just give that a wipe. And I'll get rid of these. Okay, so in with my misty now. And I'm just going to ink up my tree. I really like the VersaFine Clear. I prefer the fact that you can take off the lid compared to the VersaFines themselves. That rattling lid used to drive me absolutely bonkers. So I expect to have to do this a few times. I notice that my stamp is pulling up on the ink. So a few times won't be a problem. There, we're starting to get the darkness that we're looking for. The reason I don't do this the other way, stamping my tree in first, is that sometimes I'm too eager to stamp and my ink smudges. So yeah. Ah, that's much better. Okay, and once more for luck. So somewhere in my craft area I have white pens, but I suspect that Elijah has acquired them for his colouring in. Joys of him, 5-year-olds. Okay, and I think that's as dark as we're going to get. Look, love it. So I now notice that this tree is standing quite proudly off. So I'm going to put in a little bit of ink. I just need to find my, I'll go back in with this. And what I'll do, because I know that these ink brushes work and leave quite a dark mark, are quite heavy, I will just use them to create a wee single hill. So as you can see, I always find them a lot darker. I don't want that tree standing in thin air. I'm going to have to go in a few times. Yeah, that's all right. It'll work. So I need to make this there. There. So it's standing more on a hillside. So I think looking at that, I really quite fancy a bunny sitting there. So let me get my bunnies. If I could find them. Oh, they're over here. So I have to decide which of the bunnies I like. I think I'll go for this little bunny here. I'll give him a little stamp on some cardstock just to check that he's stamping well. Yeah, he stamps beautifully. Right, so I want Bunny's bum to be on the hill, which is always a bonus. You don't want your floating bunnies. So these bunnies are Lavinia bunnies. Oh look, isn't he lovely? He's such a pretty bun. And as I've got a little field mouse just creeping out here, I'm going to pop him on as well. So he's going to come in from the side. Yep. So I'm just going to leave him just down here. You can just see him, he's in a bit of a dark area. Okay, so one bunny, one field mouse, and we also have a very messy desk. I really need to clean up when I'm working, don't I, guys? Somewhere amongst this I have some foliage. Oh, love a fairy. I'm going to put a little fairy house hanging there. And I think it's important that you don't keep one brand in particular. You work between a number of brands because they've all got such beautiful stamps, and it would be a shame to not use them all the different stamp companies. I think it's important to use them all. Okay, let's get a fairy house. I'll go for the tiniest one. Now, are we going to go there? I think we'll go over here with our tiny fairy house. Off you come, Mr. Field Mouse. Back out with a clear. So I love this little fairy house, and I'm sorry you're going to get my head in shot probably. Just want to make sure that it's attached to the crate. There. Oh, love that. Okay, so now I'm going to stamp. Not going to stamp in black anymore. I'm going to have a quick peek and see what I have. Where are my other clears? They're hiding under here. I've only got 3 clears. I do need to spend a little bit of pennies and buy some more, but I think Drew would murder me. I think buying food's probably more important than buying stamps, although I'm not always in agreement with that. Yeah. So this again is a Lavinia stamp. Twisted Vines, I believe it's called. And Lavinia's foliage is certainly absolutely fantastic. I'm not going to overdo it, she says. There we are. I think just one more down here. And that is us. I think that that's enough. I'll probably add to it in a minute. I'm very much going to add to it, I know I am. So there we are. Her next in the video. Let me know what you think. If you think I should change anything, add anything in. I'm going to go and hunt my glue pens now so I can put a bit of glitter on this. Yeah, hide your craft supplies from your children, people.